How's the grandbabies?
in there.
Oh, they're doing awesome.
Keeping you busy?
Yeah, I wasn't, I
Yeah,
couldn't
however, I do have more time now because I've got.
Okay, you're in.
Get ready there, whenever you're ready.
All right, and then just at the end, you just click on the end stream at the bottom there. You got all your directions, I'm sure.
I hope so.
It's easy. If nothing else, just shut it off.
Thank you, Eric, appreciate your time.
Sorry about that. Sorry to make everybody wait.
Have a great night. Thank you. All right, why don't we get the meeting going like about the time? Okay, the fire exits are out the door, either in the hall, you can get out the exit doors. The AED is in accordance to the entrance of the conference room. If you have pagers or cell phones, please turn them off for the duration of the meeting. And I'll take the rolls in place of Cheryl. Clark Mahaney? Here. Janine Clark?
Here.
Dave Walsh? Here. Gary Whipple?
Here.
Steve Rutherford? Here. Okay. Did everybody get a copy of the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes. Yeah.
Anybody have any adjustments, corrections, or additions to them at all? If not, could I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Someone second it?
I'll second.
All right, I'll poll the votes. Clark? Mahaney? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry. Janine?
Yes.
Dave Welch, yes. Gary Whipple?
Yes.
And Steve Rutherford?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a comment that the public forum is open for now for the duration of the meeting. And we'll go right into the report. Janine, for the planning board?
Yes. There was only one item on the agenda for the Tuesday, September 7th planning board meeting. It was a scoping session for DG New York. It's the solar company that is proposing to build a solar farm at on Walker Lake Road. On property at 1764 Walker Lake Road, Ontario, Walker Lake, Ontario Road, property owned by Eugene Dower. This is not a formal application. Again, it's just a scoping session. And the person was here from the solar company, and J.P. Shep, our town engineer, went through some of the engineering concerns, some of which have been resolved and some which still need to be addressed. For example, New York State DOT approval, Ag and Markets comments, and a subdivision approval is required. This solar farm, by the way, is a 76-acre farm, 76 acres of property, 26 of which will be disturbed by the solar farm. But they appear to be meeting the setbacks required by our code. Because there are two principal uses on the same property, the solar farm, and there's also a rental home on the same property, a subdivision will need to be created, but a formal application and subdivision can be done at the same time when they're ready to do that before the planning board. So that was it. That was all they were able to accomplish at that point. They did discuss 8 Lake Road, Hamlin, Sandy Creek Marina, and that in that project, Vincent Robitelli wants to revise the marina there, and so the first thing that he's working on is getting a dredging permit. And we addressed that. We had information about that, and to see if it was consistent with our LWRP, which it is.
Yeah.
So that's the first step that he's going to take, I believe, on that. And again, that was just under discussion to do the dredging permit. And that was the planning board meeting.
Very good. Thank you, Janine. All right, why don't we go into Fishing Advisory Board, please?
Yeah, Fish Advisory Board, the same water let-outs from the canal are going to take place this year, as well as like it did last year.
Mhm.
So we should, again, enjoy some better fishing on Sandy Creek. It was pretty phenomenal. This year they started in they're going to start this week, to, signify a high water event coming in to try to draw the fish up a little bit earlier. We've already had people out there trying to poach fish at 3 o'clock in the morning. So we've had to do the ringy-dingy to the sheriff's department. Other than that, we are going to redesign our web page so that it is friendly to iPhones and iPads. I don't know the mechanics of all the IT stuff, but I guess right now it's fine if you want to look it up on a computer and stuff. You'll get the information you need, but not so much if you look it up on an iPhone or an iPad. So we're going with some new things there. We're also having some discussion of creating a Facebook page for the Monroe County fisheries. We'll see how that goes.
Okay, very good.
But that was about everything we talked about. I did not make the PMC meeting because I was having wires yanked out of my back at the same time to change the dates on me.
Okay, no problem. That's fine, Steve. I'm glad the thing might work out for you there. Clark, town board?
Okay, the public forum, Jackie Smith did a presentation. She brought up about Allison Kring getting the Monroe County Youth Award. They were unable to have the award presentation, so she was then trying to get it to her in person. She also wanted to mention that there's going to be a pharmaceutical waste disposal on October 5th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Clarkson Highway Garage. And the county will be holding a series of meetings for ideas on what to do with the 144 million ARPA and what it should be used for. And I don't know what ARPA stands for, but that's what it said. Jackie will also be holding she held a coffee meeting on September 21st from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the town hall. There was a resolution that was passed to transfer approximately 66 feet of right-of-way at the east end of Nuco Drive and the east end of Benedict Beach Road from the end of the existing right-of-way to the west edge of what is commonly referred to as the Castle Kelly subdivision. That was transferred from the New York State Parks Department to the town. There was a resolution that was passed to authorize the town of Hamlin court to apply for a GCAP grant in a 2021-2022 grant cycle up to $30,000. And a resolution to renew the kennel agreement with the town of Sweden for 2021 and 2022. Another resolution to schedule a public hearing to hear input on the adoption of local law to opt out of adult use cannabis retail dispensaries and on-site consumption sites within the town of Hamlin on October 12th, 2021 at 6:15 p.m. at the town hall. And the resolution to schedule town board budget workshops on September 28th, 29th, and 30th, with October 5th, 6th, and 7th if necessary. at 6:30 p.m. at the Hamlin Town Hall. Eric Peters reported the quarterly sales tax was $271,486.92. Last year it was $122,362.75. And Sandy Creek dredging will start September 20th. The duration of the project will be about 2 weeks. And they're talking about culvert work on Route 19 and Route 272. That's still in the design phase, with the replacement being in 2024. Hamlin Volunteer Ambulance in August had 104 calls, 670 to date, and there's a severe EMT shortage. Councilperson Vocal reported the Chamber of Commerce is discussing a discussion of possible ribbon cutting in Hamlin for the gallows and affordable mine. The History Center is looking into grants for the roof of the History Center, and Dave is also interested in having a possible town historical committee. And they're also talking about looking into term limits for support boards. Councilperson Yeager reported there were 109. Oh no, this is Councilman Yeager. 192 summer readers for the summer reading program. There are no dogs at the shelter at this time. And Joel was working on getting a copy of the dog shelter's auditor's report, mainly addressing administrative issues. Councilman Hurlbut reported Hamlin Morton Walker Fire District had 295 calls to date and worked on specs for a new pumper. They're working on a major rehaul of the Water Fire Department, and there are voting concerns with the Board of Elections. Wednesday, after this meeting, the first farm protection meeting, 16 people attended the town. The town needs to come up with $1,700 grant money for 2022 and 6,700 in-kind contributions. The highway superintendent reported the open trench to Apple Hollow to the court building is being dug for the gas line, and are avoiding the parking lot. Road work is wrapping up on surface blacktop and major repairs on Kendall Mills, lakefront roads, county roads, and some housing tract roads. And in August, they billed for others for outside work, $120,000. And they closed the brush pile down on Railroad Avenue because of contractor misuse.
What was that? What was the what?
The brush pile.
The brush pile.
Yeah, because they've been misused by contractors.
Contract, okay.
They're trying to figure out a possible way of fencing it in for only residents' use.
Okay.
Hanky Applebaum reported the next volunteer appreciation night is scheduled for that Saturday night at 3 to 5 p.m. They've got artists painting Halloween themed boards to create more visuals for Halloween-a-thon. And they closed camp during the last week of camping due to COVID. And no further infections with kids or staff occurred. They used that opportunity to paint the lodge. New cabinets were purchased that can be locked during rentals. Anki is continuing to look at the shade structures, possible grants for shading at the playground. And that was all.
Thank you very much, Clark. Appreciate the detailed report. Thank you. The zoning board report meeting on September 20th. Laura Cressetti of 625 Weiler Road, seeking relief from Town Code 520-31B, stating that shed-like structures need to be behind the front main foundation of the house. When she moved onto the property, that was the only place to put it. It was discussed that the shed would need to be moved. She is seeking an area variance to keep the shed in its current location, and the public hearing was scheduled for October 18th. Code states that 10 feet from any residential in the RL zone. Dwayne Wolfer of 218 Ketchum Road, seeking relief from Town Code 520-27C, stating shed to be behind front main foundation and 10 foot from the residence. He is seeking an area variance for 2 existing accessory structures that are in front of main foundation, plus seeking 3 foot from Town Code 520-27C to add an accessory structure addition to an existing accessory building. Code requires 10 foot from any other building on lot. Property is in the RBL zone district. The property at one time was 2 lots, then merged. Motion was made to schedule a public hearing for October 18th. A public hearing was held for Suzette Brennan of 6390 Shore Acres Drive, seeking relief from Town Code 520-20C2 for 25 foot front setback from existing break wall. Code states that it will be 35 feet. There was one speaker, Jennifer Vocal, who was favoring the request. No other speakers. Motion was made to grant the variance. The public hearing was closed. Suzette Brennan was also seeking for 6390 Shore Acres Drive, also seeking a CHA permit to install pressure treated and Trex type deck. This property is in the SR zone district, the LWRP, CHA, floodplain. Motion was made to grant the permit. Roger Cole of 35 Countryside Drive was seeking relief from Town Code 520-31, states one structure on permitted lot. He wants to add a second shed, a 10 foot by 12 foot, or 10 by 16 foot. Public hearing was open. There were no speakers. Public hearing was closed. Motion was made to grant the variances. Jennifer reported Jackie Smith had a coffee hour at Town Hall September 21st, 9 to 10. Sewer project is moving forward and going to bid soon. There is testing at Sandy Creek by DEC with the application fully submitted by November. Sandy Creek was stretched and spoils were placed back into Lake Ontario. The LWRP had a public input meeting. There have been 10 projects that would have benefited from great grant funds. The Farmland Protection Committee met and are applying and hopefully receiving grant funding. There was a public hearing on October 12th to opt out of having a dispensary and public smoking marijuana dispensary. And it is budget time, and town board has scheduled time to meet. That's it. All right, thank you very much. Let's see, are we okay with the assignment for next month?
Yes.
Okay. Anything for the Friends of Hamlin Beach report?
Yes, I do have something.
Okay.
Hamlin Beach now has free admission Monday through Friday, except holidays. This will be in force until spring. The entrance charge on weekends and holidays will continue until the end of October. In the campground, loops C and D are closed. They will reopen Thursday, October 7th for the Columbus Day weekend. All camping will close the day after Columbus Day. Park staff is starting tree and brush work in the campground. The Friends members monitoring the birdhouses reported 32 purple martins and 127 bluebirds fledged this season. The bluebird count was sent to the New York State Bluebird Society.
Very good, thank you, Judy, appreciate that. And zoning workshop, was there a zoning workshop?
I don't know, I don't attend that.
Anybody? Okay, guess nobody attended, so we'll go with that for that now. Before I close, I just wanted to say, it's coming up for, I don't know, whose term up this year, do you know?
Yours?
Huh?
I think yours is.
One mine, is that the only one?
What's that?
I can look it up.
So, the term expired after Cause I wanna make sure everybody got their, if they want to put their reappointment letter, Cheryl, make sure it is, make sure she knows that you wanna be reappointed. And also, make sure they got the 4 hours of training in.
Yeah, I think you're the only one, I'm not sure.
Trying to think where I had it, I thought it was in my book, but.
Well, we'll find out, we'll have Cheryl look at it, I'm sure, I had it somewhere, like, I don't know where I
I
put
know
it.
mine is next year.
That, yours next year, yours
Mine
next
is
year?
next year.
Okay, alright.
I can't remember where I put it.
And the only thing I'd like to say, Cheryl, is that in addition to the 5 conservation board members here, Cindy and, Ms. Mail is also here. Momentary lapse of memory here. And we'll close the, if anybody has anything else, we'll make a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Very good. And we'll just open up the waterfront advisory committee and, 10 people present, and we'll go right into the referrals and 24 Lake Road East Fork,
I'm
new
gonna-
sheet pile wall.
Yeah, I'm gonna back up for just a minute and.
Sure.
And just,
Oh, that's the one we got for the,
because, there was we did an inspection several weeks ago.
yeah, that was at the house that we thought
You,
should be moved back.
Dave, and Clark and I
Yeah.
did the inspection at, 6496 Shore Acres Road.
Right.
And, this is where they wanted to build a break wall, and the house is very, very close to the water. And then we received a letter, since the last meeting, we received a letter from the Department of State that determined that this is consistent with New York Coastal Management Program and meets the department's general consistency concurrence. So they felt further review by the DOS was not required. However, they said it appears that the applicant may require authorization from the DEC, which I'm pretty sure they will.
Okay.
And we
When we looked at it, even with the work that we're gonna do, which is a good idea, it was still might undermine the house, because it was, right now, the water's getting under the house.
Mhm.
So,
And the lake is even.
we recommended that, I sent an email to Cheryl, and Cheryl passed it on, but we recommended that the work continue with the house be moved back anyways.
Right,
So it's on solid ground before they start doing the,
and that may or may not be the recommendation from the DEC,
Yeah.
so we'll see.
so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, very good,
So I
thank
just
you.
wanted to bring that up,
Thank you. Let's go to the referrals,
okay?
Sinead.
I'm gonna say 24 Lake Road East Fork and 34 Lake Road East Fork are adjacent properties, and they both wanna do the same thing. They wanna put in new sheet pile wall along the shoreline. And they did receive DEC permits, and I looked at it, and it's consistent with our LWRP policy.
Okay, very good.
5910 West Witoma Beach Road, and actually 6516 Shore Acres Drive are doing something similar. They're both hiring, it appears to be the same company, to waterproof their foundation.
Okay.
One of the projects, he has a crawl space and sort of a basement that's a little bit deeper. It's not a full basement for sure, but it's a little deeper than the crawl space area. And during 2019, his sump pump quit, and he had a lot of water down there. So this company is going to come in, and in both cases, this house on West Witoma and the one on Shore Acres, they're gonna dig a 3-foot trench around the foundation, fix any cracks in the walls, apply a flashing cement and 6 mil plastic to the wall, and backfill. And then that's on the outside, and the inside they're gonna, then it says they're gonna trench 8 to 10 inches around the perimeter of the basement and install 4-inch perforated drain tile surrounded by number 2 washed stone, and at the low point in the basement at the house on West Witoma, they are going to install a perforated crock and a pump, and replace the existing system so that any water that does get down there can get pumped out. And so as I said, it was the same situation. Both homeowners commented both homeowners were home at the separate residences when I went, and they both said it was basically water from high water in 2019.
How close is either of the lake?
They're both quite close to the lake, but they do not need CHA permits. They're both in the coastal erosion hazard area. And Cheryl checked with the DEC and they do not need CHA permits. So this is their contract, the person they hired will be present at the planning board meeting to seek conservation development permits for them.
Very good.
99 Hamlin Parma Town Line Road. By the way, Cheryl, I believe, sent all of these referrals to everybody by email, so you could look them over. The one on 99 Hamlin Parma Town Line Road, the applicant wants to build a deck and a lean-to. And when we looked on the map, the official Hamlin wetlands map, the properties are right in the middle of a federal wetland. So Cheryl advised the contractor to see if he needed a Army Corps permit. And we received back the information that they determined that they do not need an Army Corps, they do not need a permit from the Army Corps. And Cheryl also, just to be on the safe side, asked the DEC, because just south of North Hamlin Road, there's a large DEC wetland, but the DEC verified that this house is not within their jurisdiction because it's too far from the state wetland. But this is a picture of, I can pass it around, but this is a picture of what they want to do, just to put a deck and a lean-to on the side.
Federal wetlands are a lot different than state wetlands there.
And
As far as requirements and stuff, because they can be really small, or they can be really big, and they don't require that much.
And when I looked at the property, it looks like, I don't know when the house was built, but it looks like it's a little bit higher ground where the house is, and then it drops off into the wetland. So there doesn't appear to be any issues with that.
So busy. You were
Yeah.
busy, yeah.
Yes, it was.
A lot of repurposed.
And 5834 West Witoma Beach Road, they want to put a deck on the side. It's a new owner, and he wants to refurbish the whole cottage. And right now there's a step and an entrance on the south side. He wants to eliminate that and have an entrance on the east side from a deck on the east side. And there were no issues with that. So all of the projects I looked at were all consistent.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Very good, thank you. So, no inconsistency this time around.
Nope.
Pretty good, okay. Very good. Anybody have anything else to talk about tonight?
I have some things under discussion.
Sure.
I just wanted to mention, and you mentioned it briefly in your zoning report, that we had the LWRP Rewrite Committee had their second public session on September 15th, and it was held in the gym. And it was formatted to encourage one-on-one discussion with the committee members. There were 10 conceptual projects along the lakefront and upland area. So they were set up on 10 separate tables, and a member of the committee was at each of the tables to encourage discussion. And there were places for people, residents, interested parties to write comments, or if they chose not to write it, then the committee member sort of interpreted what they said and wrote down comments. So that went well.
Did you get quite a bit of community response, or?
The people that were there were not that many people, but the people that were there asked good questions and made good comments and suggestions. And
Did you hear anything that you didn't expect, or any input?
I was only at one table, so
Right.
I was at the table for possible projects related to Hamlin Beach State Park, and of course everything there would have to be approved through the park also. But people had good ideas, and the park manager was there also at the table with me, so she heard some of these ideas and agreed with some of them, but said, they still have to be approved.
She has to be over her.
Yeah, it's over her head.
Right.
So it was still a good thing, and we have our next meeting in October, and we will talk about all the input that we got, and move on from there.
Very good, thank you.
And the other thing I wanted to discuss is, do we want to purchase trees for the park?
We have to find out if there's money in the budget to do it with. I'm not
Okay.
sure how we did this year. I'll send Cheryl a note after if she can start out, see where they got money. Last year we spent, what'd you say, $300?
I think so, we got
I got 5 trees, 4 or 5
4 or
trees.
5 trees. In the event that we do that, I looked around locally, I know that we bought trees twice from Salmon Creek, but now they're permanently closed.
Yeah, they go, I know they were up for sale, I didn't know that.
So some locals, I drove past Twigs, which is a new nursery on Redmond Road. I just drove by, I didn't stop, and I saw they had some trees, and they have some trees at Sarah's. And
They had the three that Heberly still a few at that farm market down on Lakeshore Road, big Lakeshore.
I did not look there.
Okay.
There are still some down there.
Yeah, right.
There are several, so those are places that, we obviously we wanna shop locally if we can. Just out of curiosity, I checked at Lowe's because I personally have bought some trees from Lowe's in the spring, and they didn't have any deciduous trees to speak of, just shrubs and things, so.
All right.
So it's just something to look into because, fall is a good time to plant,
Right.
so.
Right. Okay, well, see if Sheriff, we got money in the budget to do it, and if we did, I know last we did it, first year we did it in the springtime, but they didn't all survive because they got a dry summer, I think.
And also, if I recall, that was 2017.
Yeah.
And the highway department was so busy at the lake, they didn't get them in right away. They tried to keep them watered. But I think the ones that we got last year.
Also, I was talking to Cheryl, I had to check with the new highway superintendent and see if he's going to do it for us, because, new guy now, so we'll see if he had any problem with the plan and things like that. Okay.
It looks pretty bare out there since they've been cutting down the ash trees.
Bare along the parkway, looking for ash tree, big area of nothing but dead trees. Okay. Anybody anything else tonight?
Yes,
Sure, let's see.
one little item. A mouse from one of the research ships that was doing the trawls out on the lake to determine the density of bait fish out there, told me that the bait fish populations are improving. However, he could not provide me with any data, hard data, because it hadn't gone through DEC and the whole
When
thing.
will the hard data be available if you want it? You want to know for sure.
Well, yeah.
If you want to get the real data.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know since the state of the lake has been canceled for 2 years in a row.
Right.
And that's where we usually get our hard data from.
Right.
As chairman of the Fish Advisory Board, I'm gonna see if I can use that to pressure Webb Purcells from the DEC to get us some information as soon as it's available.
Yeah, ready to be, explain to people, talk to people.
Yeah, my mouse is pretty reliable.
Okay, well, that's good.
And I have a question for Steve.
Uh-huh.
And in the LWRP rewrite, there's a section in the LWRP where they talk about the fish pen rearing.
Yes,
And is that something that can stay in the LWRP, or is that gonna continue? Do you
we've been
know?
shut down by DEC, due to the crash of the bait fish population. And so they deemed that we were enough unnecessary port to stock anymore due to the fact that, we lost the marinas. We don't have that many, not commercial, but charter captains coming in and out of Sandy Creek anymore. So we kinda are dead in the water until DEC comes back and say, okay, we've got enough fish to, let you pen raise again. But so far, the majority of the fish are going to Niagara, Orleans, Rochester,
When you say Orleans, like Oak Orchard?
Fairhaven, yeah. Oak Orchard, Fairhaven, and then, Fairhaven, Pulaski area and stuff and Sodas. Every place that's got, a lot of charter captains. But when we lost our port and everybody pulled out and went to Eagle Marina, that kind of get us in for that. But, we'll see what happens with the, Atlantic salmon. And hopefully, Vince can, you know, bring back more charter captains. And,
That's kind of, what he wants to do is a pretty long-term project.
oh yeah, there's a lot of work to be done there.
Mhm.
Big bucks
Mhm.
for what he wants to do. But, you know, everybody right now is struggling. Eagle Harbor is doing well because that's the only other harbor they can go to. You either got, Rochester, Eagle Harbor, or Oak Orchard for this general area to fish out of. Braddock's Bay, is so weedy and so shallow that, you know, just like I talked about, you know, Rondequoit Bay last month, that it's hard to maneuver any boat through there. So hopefully we'll get some higher water levels this next year from the lake, and you know, we can build on that. But you know, part of the reasons, you know, everybody's having a hard time getting in and out of Sandy Creek since the water lake level's so low. You know.
Well, I saw in an article to them just this past weekend's West Side News that they're reducing flows so that the lake level will come up so people can get their boats out this season.
Yeah, that's gotta start, you know, way up in the St. Lawrence.
I think they said the lake might rise 3 centimeters.
Yeah.
It's not,
Is what?
it's gonna rise maybe 3 centimeters. I'll have to look.
3
at it.
centimeters, that's like,
But
about
at
an
least
inch.
it's gonna help around Canada and over in that, around Montreal and places like that, I believe. I'd have to look at the article, but it was in this week's.
Help them, 3 centimeters ain't gonna do enough for us. I mean, like I said, I couldn't even put my boat in water this year.
Did it?
No. And I know several captains that spent a lot of extra money on props.
Seems like it's too high, too low.
Yeah, I wish they'd stick with just the metal and, you know.
Yeah.
One of the things the slow water's doing is it's, when you drop the lake level by, you know, almost 3 feet, there's some really, really big boulders out there a long ways offshore.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking 300-400 yards, and if you're not watching your sonar constantly and stuff, one of them bad boys pop up and,
there was a prop, huh?
oh yeah, there goes the prop, and there's $800. We don't wanna buy too many of them.
No, not that price. Very good. Anything else, Steve?
Well, that's it,
All right. Anybody else to talk about tonight? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Clark made a motion, Carrie seconded it, and I'll take the roll. Clark?
Yes.
Janine Clark?
Yes.
Dave Welch, yes. Barry Whipple?
Yes.
Steve Rutherford?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's on video. Yeah, it's okay with us. It is.
Okay.
Time to go fight with an 88. Yeah, you can get this one.
Oh. Yeah. That time in my house too.
Well, she thinks she's got privileges.
So when you going in for the third, you're not
Well,
sure?
I'm gonna go see the doc first on the 7th.
Okay. So there's no big appointment at that point in time?
Yep.
Okay, good, very good.
But
See you later, Sydney.
like I said, at 10 o'clock at night
Good
on
night.
Hi, everybody.
Channel
Bye.
7.
See you later.
They'll show you what's gonna
See you
happen.
later.
Clark, ready to go?
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't forget your master card.
Oh,
You might need that, never know when you might need that.
oh yeah. Used to.
Pretty good at that, build it up.
Yeah. Do the minute, use the minutes from the board meeting to make my